able to hear us?
I'm going to have to leave and restart my computer. Something's not working.
Oh, okay, John, we'll wait for you.
Can you hear me, Mary?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
Oh, we see you now too. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I just need to check if you can hear me.
Yes,
Can you hear Holly?
yes.
Okay, fab.
Yeah. Okay. So did John, I was just checking his email. Did he come and go already, or is he just,
Yes.
oh, okay. So
Well, I don't know if he's here yet, though.
yeah. Oh, he just departed.
Uh-oh.
He'll be back, just like Arnold. Yeah, so while he's coming in, I realized the agenda, I didn't change any of the items on it for this month, hardly, so we may kind of the new business, which was discuss the Board of Trustees presentation and plans, probably isn't necessary, but
Well, you've also got introduced new members on there too.
pardon, Don?
I said you also have introduced new members on there.
Oh, yeah, and we've already been there, done that. Now you're old timers, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Last day of classes today.
Yeah. I had my review for the final exam. My final's Monday, so that's good. And then and as long as things don't change radically in the next, roughly 3 weeks, I'll be teaching a section of the class like I usually do in the fall. We're doing it in May to kind of make up for what I missed last fall. So we will likely have students out on the lake in kind of mid to late May and setting nets and doing stuff. So
Great.
so that'll be a little different, but I'll try to remember. We've often invited members of our board to come and spectate if you want to see what we catch in the nets. And I think it's good experience for the students. They start to learn the kind of outreach side of what we do. When you're out working and people show up, you've got to be prepared to kind of tell people what you're doing. So that'll, again, unless COVID really puts big restrictions on us.
Yeah, I see Lansing schools are virtual the rest of the school year.
Are they?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we, again, it could shift for us. It could shift in a minute. Don't know. So why don't we get started? John, I imagine, will be back in a few, but mainly, so we'll call to order, and I already indicated we'll kind of, I guess, go through the agenda parts that are relevant to this month and not last. But the meeting minutes, I think I distributed those. So any
Dale Hosford doesn't have an S at the end.
Okay.
if the spelling's the worst of our minutes, we're doing pretty good.
Yep, otherwise, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So is there
Under
a
review action items, Dan? SISMA will work for it. Phragmites. They're going to work for Phragmites.
sorry, Don, I'm not hearing you well there.
I'm sorry, I said under review action items, you have Phragmites is found around the launch, and SISMA will work for it.
Oh, it so it probably meant they'll
Work
it's
on it.
actually, it wasn't around the launch, it's really around Webster Road.
Right.
And they're looking to potentially treat it. So maybe if you can edit that, Cheryl, just
Okay.
doesn't have to be this moment, but
Okay.
so with that, I'll look for a motion to accept the minutes
I'll make that motion.
and second.
I'll second it.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No. So it looks like we actually have Holly here as a member of the public. So this is our agenda time for public comments. So did you have anything, Holly, you wanted to bring up?
No, I just finally was able to join you.
Oh, we're really glad. And, I know I've seen on Facebook you've had some challenging times lately. So
Yeah.
it's good to have you here virtually. Maybe something a little distracting, you know.
Something that I enjoy for once.
Yeah, good. Well, it's good to have you join us here. Thank you. So kind of quickly going over the kind of action items and future item list. Yeah, I don't think we have any real details. Everything's kind of the lake monitoring. Just I guess, Don, have you already done the phosphorus?
Well, I've taken the samples. They haven't actually okayed the startup
Oh, right.
program yet, so I'm still waiting for. I mean, they're going to want us to pay for this too, so
Right.
they haven't.
Those samples those get frozen, correct?
Yeah, they'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, good. So I think, again, I don't know if there's much need to go through any of those unless, did anybody else have anything to kind of add to the action item list or comments? Yeah. So yeah, so I didn't realize we don't have Judy on tonight. So I think I had the best of my recollection, I wouldn't say it's an official report, is either they did it or soon will do the tree planting.
Yeah, my husband's helping on Saturday.
It's
Okay.
Saturday afternoon.
That's a Saturday, so that's happening. Then the Friends of Park Lake did get enough money to have the kind of the cleaning station, the lower end one, and kind of there's discussion of location in that, but I think that's moving forward. I offered, my time's pretty limited right now with finals and all that, but I think that's basically moving forward. We had discussions about kind of a summer party, and I think the kind of end result was kind of waiting to see what happens and potentially having one more toward the fall. So I think those were the main items. I think Leon, you were there, right?
I was, and I think you're correct.
Yeah. So I think that's where the Friends of Park Lake kind of are at right now. So maybe look.
Channel 10 tonight. Judy was on television.
Oh.
Just reporting about the tree planting.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty good little segment.
Oh, okay.
They were
Cool.
down there by the house,
Yeah.
near where the plantings will be.
I didn't hear you, Don, reporting about what?
They were reporting. They came up with a report about the tree plantings. on
Oh, okay.
Thursday. And someone had come out and interviewed Judy by the house. I think it's going to be torn down, where she had a sign out by the road stating that the tree planting was going to be Saturday, and they interviewed her. It was a pretty good little interview.
Good.
Probably be on the 11 o'clock news tonight.
Yep. Some good news instead of other news.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It was interesting to me when her last email that we're not supposed to bring water because soft water is not good for those trees.
Really?
I don't understand why or whatever, but that was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to rain Saturday anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have too much. Yeah, because my husband was taking a couple of gallons down. I thought she asked him to.
But she did it. But the last email said, oh, those of us who have like soft water and like, because we have
Oh.
the softeners, that's not good for.
Oh,
Oh, and it's
all
probably,
right.
that has more salt in it than kind of is necessary, from the water softener. But I don't think it'd be that bad, but I'm not a tree planting expert, not my. So, all right. So we'll maybe turn to Joe if there's anything kind of from the township, the board of trustees, any things we might want to be alerted to.
Well, at our last meeting, we appointed a new clerk, Brenda, and on her first day back in the office, her assistant or the deputy clerk will be April. And both of them, Brenda has been the deputy clerk for Kathy McQueen for 10 years. So we're looking forward to a very, very smooth transition because, she's been a great help in the last few elections. We also passed the marijuana ordinance for Bath Township. We're going to have one medical distribution center and one adult center. We also passed a couple zoning requests, and the Planning Commission will be reporting to the community. They have a special group working on broadband internet. They put together a tremendous group of people from Bath Township to work on this, and they're making really good progress. I'm very pleased that we headed in this direction early because we're kind of early to this party. Before they were talking about funding it, we happened to move in that direction, and so we're a little bit early. And the last thing to kind of finish up with is the audit will be finishing at the end of this month, so we're going to know exactly where we are financially. So that's about what I have from the last meeting. And if you have any questions, I'll give it a shot.
Okay, good. Well, open it up to any questions folks might have for Joe. No? Okay. Well,
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. That's helpful to know
Thank you.
You.
all these things going on. So let's double check. John, are you with us now?
Not any better. It hangs up occasionally, and I have your video, but mine's not working right now for some reason.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing you well, but not seeing you. So we'll have to just live with your disembodied voice. That's what
My
we're.
controls aren't working either, so you'll have to show the report for me.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I opened that up just a moment ago. So yeah, maybe we'll jump there. That's kind of ongoing business. So let's see. If Taylor, can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, I believe I just made you co-host.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so this is where I'm not sure if Joe and Mary have seen this before or not, but John's been taking very regular measurements of the water level in the lake since at least, well, this graph goes to 2013. I think there are some even earlier. So you want to, I don't want to steal your thunder, John. Do you want to tell us what's going on, or is it kind of?
Well, so there are just two measurements that you can see that we've taken each year, and they're basically the same as the other years, maybe just a little bit lower. It looks like we didn't have as much water spilling over in the spring.
Yep. So no, it looks, we're right where the kind of lake level is, more or less, by kind of an inch or so. So no, I think you're right, John. I think it's been a particularly dry kind of late winter, early spring, but it's been enough moisture and low enough evaporation that we're right about where we'd like to be.
Yeah.
And for the new people, the low levels were before we had the weir and the stuff put the
So are other people actually seeing it? I'm not.
Oh, you aren't able to see this? Oh,
I see you.
I can see it.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it, John.
it was before the lake level was set, and they put in some construction to keep the lake level.
yeah.
The stop logs and things like that. So
Yeah, and there's where our common trend, although it's different every year, is once we hit early June, once the water goes below the lip of that, then we're kind of at the mercy of the weather. And you can see most years, because evaporation's high, we lose water. It'll drop a foot during the course of the summer oftentimes, or 8 to 10 inches, but then usually rebounds come kind of November-ish. So that's just, but as Cheryl highlighted, 2013 and 14, it was consistently 10 inches to a foot lower than it is now. And late in 2013, we were almost 2 feet lower than kind of normal. So no, it's made a big difference for a lot of the lake.
What year again was it?
I think it was 2015. I think the spike here is where we were we had 2013, 14, and then 15, and then the gates got shut. And since then, that was a particularly wet year, so we were actually kind of hit some peak levels pretty quickly thereafter. That might have been too. I think they might have had one more log in right at the beginning. So yeah. So it's been a long-term data set, gives us a kind of I'll say it's a clear picture of what's going on. It's a very detailed picture, but you can see the kind of general trends over time. So good. Well, thank you, John, for your continuing efforts on this. And yeah, even if it's collected kind of less frequently, it still gives us a good picture of what's going on. So with that, let me look here. I think the only other the update here, the cleaning station, as I mentioned, under the Friends of Park Lake report, that's kind of moving forward, it looks like, and need just to get some location. It's not a big footprint. So in the long run, it's movable. It takes a 10 by 10 pad, 10 inch by 10 inch pad. The tailor indicated the weevils have been ordered. So once we get kind of a anticipated delivery date, I'll touch base with folks if you want to see. I don't think I've ever seen them live in person. So if you want to see them and assist in kind of scattering them to the winds, fly, be free, that's how that'll go.
And how do we participate in that?
I'll just let folks know if you want to come along. We'll coordinate a time. Yep. Okay. I'll make a note that Holly's interested.
How long do they live?
I think they are an annual type of thing. So, but they'll have generations and okay. That's the hope. It depends on the winter. I think we're at the kind of northern edge of what they tolerate well. The other thing that happens is if they really do a great job eating out the loose strife, then their food's gone, and then you kind of lose them until the food dips back up again. So I think that's where I think we had been at a low level of loose strife, and we've kind of had a bit more. So we'll see how this goes. So I think the other kind of main thing, and I don't have real details, is the folks who live around the lake should have received a couple mailings from Steve Hansen from the PLM Corps about the potential treatments or the planned treatments on the lake, and then the kind of property owner level treatments. So So I
Yeah,
think
I got both.
so Mary got them, and I suspect
I got both.
other folks.
I did as well.
Yeah. So I think the two things, or at least two things there. For the individual property owners, that's individual people's choice. But if you do happen to kind of run into any citizens of the township and lake shore owners who hadn't gotten it and might not be aware, let them know. And I haven't had it done, but if you've had it done and if you've been happy with it or unhappy, feel free to communicate that. I think that word of mouth, either for or not for, kind of is valuable service our kind of group can provide.
Yeah, we've been really happy with his, we pay for our 80 feet, and we've been really happy with the job that he has done.
Okay, good.
I'm trying to understand what it gets rid of, because like in front of my house is a lot of lily pads and stuff like that. I know that doesn't work. So what is the advantage?
Well, it worked. The lily pads, I was surprised he said it didn't work, because when he did it on, he does it twice. And I can't remember whether it did the first time, but the second time he did it on our property, it took care of a lot of the lily pads too. So he says it doesn't, but it did ours.
Well, it's not supposed to, because they're native.
Yeah, but
well,
for clarity, I think so as a private owner, you're entitled to kind of some level of free access to the lake, and
Right.
they can use kind of chemicals that will treat native plants. So again, it's constrained. You can't just say I want to have a bathtub in front of my lake or my property, but he often doesn't focus on the lily pads because they are hard to treat with their big roots. But again, with a couple hits, he can thin them down. So
yeah, and that's how I would say it. They were thinned down.
Yeah. So it's kind of very site specific how much it does.
Okay.
So no, that's good to hear, Mary. I'm glad to hear it's going well again. But if it wasn't going well, we'd have to know that too, to let people have reasonable expectations. So then the other thing it happens. So I went out and did the paddle around the lake to count goose nests, and the count was the same as last year and as the year before. They're in different places, but we seem to have 9 is the number we shall have. So, and actually there might be 10. There was one nest where there were feathers on a muskrat hut where they typically nest. No birds on it, but Steve happened to be out fishing at that exact moment in that exact location. So he might have spooked the fish off. So I had a chance to chat with Steve out on the lake last week sometime. So one of the things that I don't know if we have really any advice right at the moment because we don't have more information, is the Procellacor that has been used the past couple of years. If you recall, the first year that it was applied, it seemed to really knock the milfoil down in the whole lake, even though it was in theory only applied to a small area. The other thing is the Procellacor has a 3-year warranty from the manufacturer for the kind of sites if you follow certain protocols. So the first year we had it seemed to knock it down. Last year, it seemed to knock it down pretty good as well. But Steve said he's been out fishing, so more informal. I've been out fishing, and he's seen kind of build up a milfoil where he treated 2 years ago. So it would be potentially under warranty. So he said he'd like to get back to us because at one level he hates to treat on top of a spot he already treated because it may be under warranty. So they've got to get out and sample. So I think it's more kind of an update than anything. And he may look to our body for some advice once he samples, kind of getting a sense of where the densest aggregations of milfoil are. So that I think that kind of one of the main updates is I did notice there seems to be a modest amount of milfoil that kind of, it was knocked down in the summer and it seems to have overwintered pretty well, and it's starting to pop back up. So I don't know if other folks have been out on the lake much. I'm probably the only nut job that's been out much. Although there's been a fair amount of boats out already. It's seen people swimming at the beach already.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll pass on that for a while, but
Yeah.
so any kind of, I guess, thoughts or things I should maybe bring to Steve's attention or questions you might have? Yeah, I think it's just we need a little more kind of, if you will, data on what's happening before we can really provide advice. But again, I think overall it's all been going pretty well, and I think having the individual property owners that have been treating has kind of suppressed kind of weeds more generally along some areas of the shoreline. Other areas are pretty verdant with growth of weeds. So I think those were my main things for tonight. I didn't have a lot, and actually looking ahead, we commonly skip our May meeting. For me, particularly this year, I'm likely to be teaching the class that I have, so I'm going to be kind of totally busy those 2 weeks. So I propose we wait until our kind of normal time in June to meet.
That sounds good.
So that work for everyone?
Yep.
But of course, if there's anything that arises, pass it along. We've seen, like I said, a lot of geese. Oh, looks like Joe has.
Yeah. I know that we always have grants on the agenda for Park Lake. Are there any grants available to help with the lake at this time? Are we aware of anything?
Not specific. So when you say to help the lake, do you mean like with the weed treatment in particular?
Well, anything in general to help the lake.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the ones that I'm aware of, of course, we're not aware of the things we don't know about, but the fisheries division has some what they call fish habitat grants. But those are commonly for kind of multi-lake projects, and the SISMAs likewise. The SISMAs are those cooperative invasive species management areas or authorities. And they focused a lot on terrestrial, and they tend not to treat aquatic weeds. They tend to view that as a kind of a, that's your problem type of thing, which is, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's just how those tend to go. The fisheries division habitat grants, a lot of that's been focused on dams and dam removal more so than lake work. So there really aren't a ton of grants that are kind of focused on our situation. I think the truth is, the state of Michigan, we got thousands of lakes, and there's thousands of other lakes that at some level are very similar to ours, similar problems. They're heavily utilized, and particularly in Southeast Michigan, and the fisheries division grants just aren't big enough to start really addressing such wide scale problems. So
I think that's a good question though, Joe. I wonder like, so for the June meeting, maybe I can start a list of any potential grants that we might think of, and we can start to just populating a list.
Yeah, that'd be real helpful.
Like we start to just think about where we can apply for funding, and just start brainstorming and trying to collect information. So if I can start a list on that, and then we can just branch out from there.
Yeah.
The other thing to pay attention to, I guess, is, if the federal government does anything around this infrastructure, is our lakes any part of that? I have no idea. I haven't heard. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be I think it's going to unfold. So just, I guess, to keep an eye out for stuff that might even be remotely relevant.
Yeah.
Because if that might be the one time that there's a lot of money for we always said that if we ever wanted to dredge or do something like that, it'd have to be a major grant, and that maybe that's going to exist sometime now.
Unfortunately, though,
I think there's a lot of
infrastructure needs, and so
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know, but they're putting in a lot into this for the future. So who knows?
Mhm.
I think if we're proactive, we might be in a position to see if we could secure some funding. Okay. And
Yep.
I'd be very supportive of that at the board level,
Yep.
just so everybody knows. Okay.
Great.
Good.
Great.
Awesome. Okay, so
Hey,
I guess
Dana?
it's
Yeah.
so that's an action item that I can probably start. I can start to put together a list of potential funding things that we can circulate, and maybe like a Google Doc or something that we can have, and we can keep updating as a group.
Yeah. So we have it on the future item list, but I'll move it up. But if you can populate that, that'd be.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
Did you get the latest email from CLMP?
I might have out of my 100 emails a day. I don't recall.
They're advertising that their meeting is going to go. It's a cooperative lake management program. Their email is going to go, or their meetings are going to go Zoom this year.
Oh,
They
okay.
just reported that all the programs are going to be free.
Oh, really?
So anybody can, from what I understand, anybody could go through any of their programs for no cost. And there was a mention in there about the boat wash and tending lakes. I think they did that. Did they do that last year?
Yeah, and we do have, I don't have the date in front of me, but they will be at Park Lake at least once this summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Don, if you can send me a copy of that email, like I said, whether I got it or not, I'm not sure, but
What is it?
I'd be happy to send it to anybody that wants to look at it.
Yeah.
I missed what the description of it in the first place was.
So go ahead, Don, if you want to
It's
describe.
a CLMP. It's a cooperative lake management program, I believe is what it stands for. And they hold meetings every year to try to help lake owners deal, in the best way to deal with any problems they have on the lake, like weeds and anything,
Huh.
Yeah. So yeah, you probably have the full list for our board if you can distribute it to everyone, because some of that, again, particularly for our new members, but anyone, some of these trainings, we happen to know the folks who do it. We think very highly of them.
Yeah.
Coming out of our department, but it's a way, and if they're free, kind of free training, and there's the meeting.
He's a good price.
Free is good.
Free is a great price.
Oh, for many things, but I ascribe to the Escanaba and the Moonlight saying something for free. Now that's worth saving up for. There are times there are hidden costs.
Yeah.
But no, this group, it really is free and very beneficial. So okay, good. Well, thanks for bringing that up, Joe. We'll look. Again, I think there are challenges, of course, because as kind of Leon said, like infrastructure, bridges, roads, but lakes are part of it, and see where we can fall out for that, as well as other grant opportunities. I just want to kind of caution folks that, again, there's a lot of lakes out there all asking the same question, and some like Higgins Lake and Houghton Lake have much larger organizations, much more political pull. They tend to kind of rise higher in those processes, would be my observation.
They just don't have the immediate population in their midst.
Well,
like we do.
Well, yes and no. Around the lake, we've got 100 odd lake owners. They're just bigger lakes, so the density may be lower, but there are thousands of people on.
Yeah, Park Lake is used by everybody in this area.
Yeah.
So, all righty. Well, good. Well, if Cheryl, if by the June meeting, kind of just get started. This can be one of those ongoing, add to the list.
Get started. Yeah, I can start thinking about it anyway. That'll be good.
Yep.
We are, so the next meeting is June 16th, I guess, right?
Let me double check. I think I did that accurately. I don't always. Yep, that's the third Wednesday.
And then we go monthly till when?
Well, I guess we can evaluate when we meet in June. You know, I think we've held monthly just as a placeholder, but if we don't need to meet, you know, we won't meet. But yeah, I think May is the one we usually do kind of cancel out on for various reasons. May and December are our usual.
But then normally would be until December, unless we decide not to. I'm just trying to figure out whether I can see a 6 o'clock client or not. So.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's
usually do May and I thought that, and then so I said, okay, it's okay for me to go see Wharton show, and then we're gonna do May this year. I'm like, okay, or whatever. But so,
right.
So I guess usually we don't do May.
Right.
So,
Got it.
We usually don't do December either.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Good. So, anything else for the good of the order?
Nope, that sounds good. I'll send you the minutes right away. I've finished them. That's why I'm much faster with the minutes, because we're right here on the computer and on the internet. So
it does make that part of this whole meeting process a lot smoother.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I appreciate you guys letting me visit.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
Happy to have you here, Holly.
See you all.
Move to adjourn.
One.
Yep. So I motion to adjourn. So we're all ready to roll. So hope you all have a good evening. We've had some lovely sunsets. We'll see how tonight goes.
It was perfect.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.